It's all about the great Batman. Well, for your information, he sees something in me that you don't.
Welcome back, guys. It's so good to see you all. Any Batman fans in the house today? And if we have to talk about Batman, then how can Robin be far off? Batman and Robin are, well, let's just say, a package deal. That's how I've always seen it. No matter the version, no matter how dark things get, Robin always shows up at some point. But this absolute Batman run has been doing the opposite. We're 18 issues in, Bruce already has his own twisted circle, Gotham is getting worse every arc, and still no Robin. And at this point, it doesn't even feel like a delay, it feels like they're holding him back for a reason. Well, looks like the wait is finally over, as we finally have some real updates. We know when he's showing up, how he's being introduced, and honestly, it's not what you'd expect. So if you've been wondering where the hell Robin is in this universe, yeah, let's get into it. So, when are we actually getting Robin? Since the very first issue of Absolute Batman, Robin has remained one of the biggest mysteries. For 18 issues, we've seen Bruce Wayne operating solo, assembling his team, facing off against Bane, and surviving Arkham's challenges. Throughout all of that, readers, and especially I, can't help but wonder, where exactly is Robin in all this? Well, we don't have to wait for long now. It is confirmed Absolute Robin debuts in Absolute Batman issue 20, which is scheduled to hit stores on May 13th, 2026. Now, before that, issue 19 drops on April 15th, and that one is where the Scarecrow arc kicks off. Snyder himself called it the start of the biggest arc in the run yet, so issue 19 is clearly a huge deal on its own. I know Robin's not the headliner of that issue, but here's something worth paying attention to. On the variant cover for issue 19, the Joker is shown wearing a Robin R badge on his chest. Yep, DC is already planting the breadcrumbs before Robin even officially shows up. Like I said, the real introduction happens in issue 20, and the timing fits perfectly with Bruce's current situation. After all that Bane has done to his allies, and with the constant threats coming out of Arkham every month, Bruce is facing escalating dangers that are too much to handle alone. Bringing Robin into the midst of this chaos feels absolutely purposeful. At MegaCon Orlando, Snyder confirmed that the series is planned to exceed 50 issues. This makes it clear that Robin is set to become one of the main pillars in the larger story Snyder is shaping over the long term. That cover with the giant R? Snyder says it's not the right one. Okay, so when DC first put out the cover for Absolute Batman issue 20, it showed Batman standing with his back to you, standing up at this massive letter R. And everyone got the message immediately. Robin is coming for sure, right? I mean, it wasn't subtle in any way. But here's the part that nobody saw. That cover is not the real cover. Yeah, you heard me right. Scott Snyder said it himself at MegaCon Orlando. His exact words were, "That cover with the R, that big R, is not the real cover." He then followed it up by saying, "The R is going to drop away and you're going to see the designs of what we're thinking for Robin. We're going to do that really soon." So what DC essentially did was release a placeholder cover to confirm Robin is coming without actually showing you anything. Let's just say it was a tease inside a tease. And according to Bleeding Cool, the real Robin designs have already been completed and shared with the variant cover artists for issue 20. But they were sent under heavy encryption and with watermarks specifically to prevent leaks. So there are people out there who have already seen what these Robins look like, and DC is sitting on it until they are ready to drop the actual reveal. At WonderCon on March 28th, Snyder was on the DC What's Next panel, and there was a lot of expectation that the reveal might happen there. As of right now, the real designs still have not been shown publicly. What Snyder has said is that the unredacted cover is expected to drop after issue 19 comes out in April, which means we're probably just a few weeks away from finally seeing what these Robins actually look like. Yes, I said Robins. Snyder said Robins, and he really meant it. When Snyder first started teasing Robin's arrival, most people assumed we were talking about one Robin. Standard setup, one partner, one sidekick joining Bruce. But then at MegaCon Orlando 2026, Snyder said something that genuinely made a lot of people do a double take. You're going to meet the Robins, and the concept of Robin comes in Absolute Batman issue 20. We have a lot of introductions. Robin, plural. And according to Popverse, who covered the panel, he was deliberate about it. He emphasized the word when he said it, making sure nobody walked away thinking it was a slip of the tongue. We're getting multiple Robins showing up at once. Now, in the mainline DC universe, multiple Robins existing is not exactly a new concept, because the Bat family is basically built on that idea. But in the Absolute Universe, we are only 20 issues into a story that is still being set up. Having a whole group of Robins arrive at the same time is a completely different thing. It shifts the scale of the story immediately in a way that one Robin joining Bruce would not. The official solicitation for issue 20 also reflects this. It says, Robins enter the scene ready to hunt. And that word, hunt, is worth sitting with for a second. If you ask me, my guess would be that these Robins won't be just sidekicks being introduced into a warm mentor and student dynamic. These are people showing up with a definite purpose. They are hunting someone or something, and understanding who sent them and why is really where the whole story around Absolute Robin starts to get genuinely interesting. Joker has been playing Bruce Wayne this whole time. To understand why there are multiple Robins and what they're doing in Gotham, you first have to understand what the Joker actually looks like to the world in this universe. Because if you've only seen those viral images of Absolute Joker in his true monstrous form, I'm talking about the reptilian nightmare with the rows of jagged teeth and the glowing eyes, yeah, that is real, that is him. But here's the thing, Gotham doesn't know that version exists. That's what he looks like when nobody is watching. To the city, Jack Grimm is a billionaire philanthropist. He is beloved, he is respected, he funds orphanages, and he's the kind of person Gotham looks up to. He has the manor, a butler, and even a secret cave hidden behind a grandfather clock in that manor. Where have we heard that before? That's right, he is, in every visible way, the version of Bruce Wayne that Bruce Wayne is in the regular universe. Snyder explained this directly at DragonCon last year. He said, if Bruce is Joker now and he is chaos and he is disruption, then Joker is the system and order. That means Joker would have a Batcave, he would have a mansion, he would be handsome and be a socialite. Maybe he has Robins. That last part, maybe he has Robins, was clearly him thinking through the idea out loud at that panel. And now, a few months later, it is confirmed. The Joker absolutely has Robins. The whole inversion of this universe runs on this logic. Bruce is the one people fear. Jack Grimm is the one people trust. And when you understand that, the Robin situation starts making a very specific and very disturbing kind of sense. These Robins genuinely think the Joker is a good person. When you take a moment to really reflect on it, this part of Absolute Robin tends to linger in your mind the most. At La Mole convention in 2026 in Mexico City, Snyder sat down for an interview with Christoph Kirchhoff, which was later shared on Instagram, and he explained what the relationship between Robin and the Joker actually looks like from the inside. And it's not what you would expect at all. He said, ultimately Batman in this series is disruption. He's chaos. And so that means that Joker, not giving too much away, but anyone who's Robin probably thinks that Joker is a really good guy, like everybody else in the city. Everyone thinks Joker is like Bruce Wayne. In the main universe, they think he's a philanthropist billionaire who's kind to everybody. And so he might have raised somebody that will think with all their heart that Joker's a good person. But he's not a good person. He might have raised somebody. That line right there tells you everything. These Robins have been raised to sincerely believe that Jack Grimm is a good person. From their perspective, they likely see themselves as the heroes of the story. Meanwhile, Batman is portrayed as the criminal they've been trained to confront. This shift dramatically redefines what it means to be Robin in this particular world. Traditionally, every Robin we've encountered understands clearly who the heroes and villains are. That understanding is almost a cornerstone of their role. But here, the person they trust and who has guided them turns out to be the real threat. Scott Snyder mentioned that part of the appeal in this storyline, Absolute, is flipping the usual dynamics found in the main universe. This example stands out as probably the most profound twist in that vein throughout the series so far. 5 Robins in power suits. Here's what we know about their identity. Now for what we actually know about how these Robins are going to look. For this one, we are working off a Bleeding Cool report from March 28th. Bleeding Cool labeled it as gossip, so worth keeping that in mind. But their sourcing on Absolute Batman throughout this run has been solid, and this lines up with everything Snyder has been hinting at publicly. According to that report, there are going to be 5 Robins total. The source even gave them a nickname, Robins Force 5. All 5 of them will be wearing power suits, and visually, to a casual reader, they will look like the standard set of DC Robins. So you are looking at what appears to be Tim Drake, Dick Grayson, Jason Todd, Damian Wayne, and either Stephanie Brown or Carrie Kelly. 4 male, 1 female. But here's where things get really exciting. The report is clear that we do not actually know who is underneath those suits. They will look like the classic Robins on the surface, but whether they are actually those characters is still completely unknown, which is very much in line with how the Absolute Universe has handled everything so far. Bruce's closest friends are people who in the main universe would be Killer Croc, Penguin, Two-Face, and Riddler. The names and faces are familiar, but the people wearing them are completely different. What we do know for certain is that the real designs are already done. They are already with the variant artists, and Snyder has confirmed the actual cover reveal is coming very soon, after issue 19 drops. So we are going to move from speculation to confirmation quickly. But until that happens, 5 Robins in power suits working for the Joker is what we are going on. Why is Damian Wayne not there? Before we move forward, there is one name worth addressing specifically because a lot of people are going to ask about it. Damian Wayne is not part of this Robin picture. Not in issue 20, and honestly not anytime soon. Snyder confirmed this at Dragon Con back in September 2025. He said all the Robins exist in the Absolute Universe except for Damian. And the reason he gave is actually pretty clean logic once you hear it. Bruce has not met Talia al Ghul yet in this universe, and Damian only exists because of Bruce and Talia together. Without that specific connection, as Snyder pointed out, he would just be somebody else's son. He would not be a Wayne. And without the Wayne side of that equation, you do not really have Damian. You just have a random kid in a Robin suit, which kind of defeats the whole point of the character. Damian's entire identity in the mainline universe is built on that tension between two worlds, the Wayne legacy and the League of Assassins crashing into each other. Take one side away and the character does not work the same way. Snyder clearly understands that and is not interested in doing a version of Damian that does not earn it properly. However, if you are a Damian fan, I would say not to lose hope because anything can happen in a 50+ issue run. There's still plenty of time for Bruce and Talia's story to get told down the line, but that would need a lot of groundwork laid first. For now, he is the one notable absence in an otherwise very crowded Robin picture. Dick Grayson has already been introduced. Now, out of those 5 Robins we just talked about, Dick Grayson is actually the one who has already shown up in the story. And his introduction is easy to miss if you were not looking for it. He technically showed up in Absolute Batman as far back as issue 9, but don't feel bad if you completely missed it because it was genuinely one of those blink and you'll miss it moments. There is a single panel of an EMT riding a cycle rickshaw through Gotham, transporting injured criminals to the hospital because Batman had put so many people in hospital that night the city literally ran out of ambulances. And on that EMT's uniform there is a small badge that reads Grayson, D. That is your introduction to Absolute Dick Grayson. One panel, one name tag, and a whole lot of implied frustration with Batman's method. The character shows up again in issue 17, which I'll get to in a moment. And then in issue 18, he is back once more, this time lying in an ambulance after another rough night, saying to himself, "Alright, Dick, tomorrow you do something about it." That is a man who has made a decision. And that line lands a lot harder when you know what's coming in issue 20. So, we know he's an adult in this universe. We can confirm he's not a fan of what Batman is doing to Gotham. And we know for sure from Snyder himself that this is very much the beginning of a much larger story for the character. In an interview with Casually Comics, Snyder said, "Dick Grayson comes back in a really big way. Nick sat here with me in the office and we planned out the entire series such as we see it right now, and it was a good 35 to 40 issues and we just laid it out." That interview was from late last year, and since then the plan has grown to 50+ issues. So whatever Snyder has in mind for Dick, it is clearly a long game. What Snyder has confirmed is that Dick Grayson, Jason Todd, and Harley Quinn are all coming into the story in the issues ahead. So let's see where he fits in all of this. Could Harley Quinn actually be one of the Robins? Out of everything swirling around the Robin conversation right now, this theory has probably the most interesting evidence behind it. And it comes from Screen Rant, who made the case after issue 17 dropped. So let me walk you through it. In this universe, Harley Quinn is not the Joker's girlfriend. She is the leader of the Red Hood gang, and she has been actively helping Bruce. During the Bane arc, Batman would genuinely not have made it through without Harley and her crew stepping in. So her values and Bruce's are already aligned in a way that feels meaningful. Issue 17 has a single page where 2 things happen side by side. You see Dick Grayson, the EMT, venting about Batman and blaming him for Gotham's problem. And right next to that, you see Harley Quinn reiterating that she wants to help Bruce going forward. Screen Rant's argument is that this page is Snyder doing exactly what he does, planting a signpost. The person you think will be Robin is actively against Batman. The person nobody is talking about for the role is the one expressing loyalty. There is also something worth noting about the name situation. Jason Todd's Red Hood identity has essentially been taken by Harley in this universe since she runs the Red Hood gang. That is a deliberate remix. And if Snyder is willing to give Harley the Red Hood connection, putting her in a Robin suit as a twist is not that big a leap. Now, to be clear, this is a theory. Screen Rant's theory backed by textual evidence, but still a theory. Snyder has not confirmed it. What he has confirmed is that Harley Quinn's full origin story is coming in issue 22, right in the middle of this arc, which means she is clearly one of the most important characters in this stretch of the story. Whether that origin recontextualizes her as a Robin or something else entirely, we genuinely do not know yet. But out of all the speculation floating around right now, this one feels the least like a reach. Someone has to die before the Robins show up. So we have 5 Robins coming. We have theories about who they are, and somewhere underneath all of that there is something the solicitation for issue 20 has been quietly telling us that most people have been too excited about Robin to focus on. Because before the Robins even enter the picture, something devastating happens to Gotham. The official description reads, "A tragic loss rocks Gotham City. As the dust settles in the city of Gotham after the loss of Redacted, Robins enter the scene ready to hunt." Someone dies in issue 19 or at the start of issue 20, and DC is going to fairly significant lengths to make sure we do not find out who before we read it. The solicitation has them fully redacted. Even the cover for issue 19 is being read for clues. On that cover, Mayor Jim Gordon is prominently shown up front, leading to speculation that he might be the one who does not make it out of issue 19. Other names being thrown around by fans include Martha Wayne, Selena Kyle, and Barbara Gordon. Alfred is always a possibility given how central he is to Bruce's world in this run. Nobody knows for certain, and that is clearly very deliberate on DC's part. What is worth thinking about is what that loss is supposed to do for the story. The Robins arrive right after it happens, described as coming to hunt. Whether the Joker orchestrated the loss to destabilize Bruce before sending the Robins in, or whether the timing is something else entirely, is still an open question. Alright, so that's everything we know so far about Absolute Robin and how he's about to shake things up in this universe. I feel the idea of multiple Robins working for the Joker is absolutely wild, and I just can't wait. But I want to know what you think. Do you like this direction, or would you have preferred a more traditional Robin setup? If you enjoyed the video, drop a like, subscribe to the channel for more breakdowns like this, and let me know what you want us to cover next. I'll see you in the next one!